Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. As I want to make sure this is in the right way with the microphone. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's a bit dark, but considering what's been going on, kind of made sense. But this is another paid request, this time from Lucas. Thank you so much, Lucas. If anyone wants to request any other type of videos or topics or reactions or reviews or re-reviews or anything else, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is a commentary on Tremors 2 Aftershocks, which I am a big fan of the first film, Tremors, the Arrow video set. But this time we're talking about Tremors 2. To me, great sequel, and we'll get into that right about now. Sorry, getting situated. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So we're at the Universal logo, just doing this for better syncing for those watching. Universal logo's gone, and we now have MCA Home Entertainment Presents. And then a Stampede Entertainment production. Now Stampede, that's actually S.S. Wilson, Brent Maddock, the writers, as well as their agent, I forgot her name. Tremors 2 Aftershocks. That was a nice little, fun little thing they did with the title, break it apart. Now, the first Tremors, I've said before, I said again, this first Tremors film is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love this film to death. If you haven't gotten the Arrow Video Blu-ray, it's completely worth it. I doubt they'll ever do anything like this for the sequel, but it's the only Blu-ray. I think there's a Blu-ray overseas, but in the U.S., it's on the same disc as Tremors 1, the previous time it got released on Blu-ray, or the DVD. I doubt it'll ever get the justice that first one did. But this is one of those movies that I put on a list of underrated sequels of all time, because I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I think while I like the first one the best, it's up there. This is a film that there were talks of maybe putting in the theaters, but it went straight to video. And yes, you don't have Kevin Bacon in it. He didn't want to do it because at the time he's like, I don't know, Tremors, and the first one didn't do well, and he was on the streak of films not doing well, and big disappointment. And it's like, Tremors. But now he's come around and he actually enjoys Tremors. It's funny, there's an interview written in this book where his kid, I saw Tremors, I loved it. Dad, I even like Tremors 2. I'm like, son, well, Daddy's not in Tremors 2. I know, but I love it. I love Tremors 2. So Kevin Bacon's son said that. That was kind of funny. Now this is the oil field in Mexico. Originally the film, they were going to have it be in Australia. From what I understand with Universal, if they had Kevin Bacon and Reba McEntire back, they would have given this film a bigger budget and it would have been in Australia. But Kevin Bacon, he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to do a sequel. At the time, he didn't like Tremors, honestly. He's like, oh, okay, this film bombed, whatever. I'm doing these films like A Few Good Men. Yeah, I'm not going back to doing a Tremors movie. But he's very much warmed up to the film. And Reba McEntire, she was busy with her touring, being a country music singer. Now, this time, we actually have one of the writers, S.S. Wilson, directing the film. And right here, I thought it was a nice practical effects. Boom. Got the graboid pulling this guy down. And for the most part, the effects are very solid. Once in a while, much later on, you get CG, but for the most part, it's fairly good. And the reason this came about, even though the film didn't do the best in theaters, was it did very well on home video. And Universal said, "Wow, there's some kind of okay, this some people actually love this film and it's making quite a bit of money, so maybe we'll do a sequel." And like I said, you didn't get some of the others, but you did get Fred Ward coming back as Earl. It was great to see him as the lead, and I thought he did a great job. And this reveal that it's an ostrich, I thought was pretty funny. And yeah, it's sad that you don't have Kevin Bacon back, but I think it still has a lot of merit. Like I said, Fred Ward does a wonderful job. It's great to see him as the lead this time. Christopher Garden, I warmed up to him. I actually rather liked him. Yes, I would have preferred Kevin Bacon, but I thought Christopher Garden actually played off Fred Ward fairly well as a different type of character. Helen Shaver, I thought was very sexy and likable. Michael Gross, I thought Burt Gummer, I think even more so came into his own in this movie. Like, he does a good job in the first one, but I think in this he's got a bit more to do, to the point where it's like, I'm all out of ammo. That's never happened to me before. And there's a picture, yeah, from the end of the first movie that Rhonda actually took. Of course, the idea is they want to offer him a job to help in Mexico against graboids. And ultimately this other guy convinces him to do so, as it could be his second big chance. I kind of like, this is the start of this sort of little universe building up where some people actually do end up happily ever after. Like Val, Tim Bacon married Rhonda, and they're doing well, and they're married and successful. And the third film, they reference how Fred Ward and Christopher Garden, they opened up an amusement park called Monster World, and that's being very successful. So it's nice that you hear in the background in various movies that the characters actually did go off and succeed. Because how many times do you watch a sequel and say, oh, that character died off, or he got killed, or he did this to that? It's like, what the fuck? Val married a good woman. Why would he want to die? And more so on the universe, when you go into this trailer, you see all the little world building in a way that you witness, like the video game. I always thought that was cool. Visual prop is the Graboid video game. Makes me wonder what that video game would be like. But yeah, the arcade game, and then all the pictures, like People Magazine, Natural Geographic, which they mentioned in the first movie. And that's why I was fine, because Fred Ward, Christopher Garden, they do have a different camaraderie, so that way it doesn't feel like the exact same as the first movie. Now, granted, would I prefer Tim and Bacon? Sure, because they work perfectly with each other. But at least it's a different camaraderie. And I thought Christopher Garden was actually fine. And there's a different dynamic. There's a different vibe. But they still work well together. Actually, kind of a nice little endearing plot point where the character gets, a second big chance. Now, Kevin Bacon's character probably did well because the woman he married is a smart college student and probably got a good lawyer. Because I guess if Kevin Bacon was in it, it would be Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward going to Australia to hunt these graboids. I guess it changed because Mexico, or something that looks like Mexico, would be cheaper. I think it's one of those things that's kind of another relatable element where, you did your bid chance, it gets lost, and they did a nice second bid chance. As he puts here, not to keep chasing after things I'll never going to get, I'm never going to get. It gives Fred Ward character a reason to take on this job. Like, in a way, a valid reason. More so that, of course, you want to help people, but this is more like helping a organization, a corporation. But still, you have people in danger, and I also, to have the big second chance for this character who I grew to love in the first movie. I remember back in the day, there was a VHS tape. I forget which VHS tape it was that advertised Tremors 2. It was the short trailer where they only showed like a little bit of snippets. And I'm like, wow, they're doing a Tremors 2? And that guy is back? I was so hyped for it. And this is embarrassing, but I'll tell the story anyway. I went to school and, looking for people who loved movies like I did. And I would be excited, wow, they do a Tremors 2. I guess they were just so weirded out that I'd be excited for a movie. They're like, oh yeah, Tremors 2. Is there going to be a Tremors 3? Maybe a Tremors 4? Which is hilarious, because yes, there were. In fact, there were 7 of them, and a TV show, and a pilot that wasn't aired, but made. To go figure. Really enjoy this piece of music. I just, it's just a great beat to it. And this part of the music is fine for where the location's at in Mexico. It worked out fine. And this goes into different dynamic where he doesn't know what the paper rocks is. What's this? And win. Again, you could not get away with that if it was Kevin Bacon's character. I really did kick out of this soundtrack, the score. And like I said, I think for a direct-to-video film, this does all the things you want. You want to have somewhat of a similar experience, which you do, with the climate, the area, the dealing with grab boys, having some of our people bad like Fred Ward, Michael Gross. But also, there's a difference to it. The plot is different. The evolution of the grab boys and the shriekers. It doesn't feel like a carbon copy of the first movie. And it doesn't denounce something in the first movie where it makes the first film pointless. I mean, how many sequels do you have out there that they do, and the first film just becomes absolutely fucking pointless? Or the previous film becomes absolutely pointless. That gets annoying very fucking fast when they do that. And it was cool that Fred Ward came back for this. I think for the third film, from what I understand, they did not ask Fred Ward to come back. But the reason they gave was kind of valid. They said, well, in our timeline, we had it where him and this guy went to do World, and we didn't want to kind of mess around with the character, and I like that they wanted to treat the characters well, that they did succeed and they did go further, and it's not just, oh, too bad they didn't really succeed. Sorry, they didn't really get their dream fulfilled. I kind of respect that. And Brent Maddox, S.S. Wilson, they didn't. I think the last thing they worked on was probably the TV show, or Tremors 4. Now here's Helen Shaver, who I do enjoy quite a bit. I keep getting her name confused with the girl who played Supergirl back in the day. It's different people, but the names always keep getting messed up. I think that's Helen Slater. This is Helen Shaver. But I just thought she was a good-looking lady, fun persona. And there's not really a big cast in this when you look at it. I mean, you have the guy killed at the beginning. The guy they met coming in. The guy who's kind of the leader of it and just shook their hands. Fred Ward, Christopher Garden, Helen Shaver. They have this guy in the truck, Julio, and Michael Gross. That's pretty much all you have in the movie. So if you go into these films expecting a big body count, this isn't the type of movie, you're not going to get that. They just got robbed for all the royalties in that video game, man. Completely robbed. Which he then further states as to why he is doing this and his big, his big second chance. And also coming up, a scene with equal opportunity perks. Yeah, you have the guy checking the girl's ass, but you also have the girl checking the guy's ass. So it definitely makes them equal, which I thought was kind of an interesting touch. And again, these two work well together. It's kind of nice, like Kevin Bacon got a love interest, now Fred Ward gets one, and a different set of hair too. Nice flowing lock of hair too for Fred Ward. And I maintain this is the best direct-to-video sequel ever made. I know that's a big thing to say, but not so much when you think of direct-to-video sequels. I really think about direct-to-video sequels. You see what I was talking about? He checks out her ass. People, oh, that's sexist. But then, boom, right back, her checking out his ass. So they made both of them human. And both of them on equal footing. Oh yeah, this is a fun line. Walter Chain, he named them, and then they ate him. But yeah, you look at the world of direct-to-video sequels. I mean, to go through even just horror film wise, or let alone action film wise, there are some direct-to-video films, but a lot of them are just worthless shit. Whether it be, what, Tales from the Hood 2. I know they did a third one. Nemesis 2, 3, and 4, Cyborg 2 and 3. I mean, I'm sure you can find a whole list of direct-to-video sequels. Lost Boys 2, the Tribe. Lost Boys 3, The Thirst is actually a pretty decent one. I like the idea of hunting graboids and being able to have a bit more knowledge in order to do it. Like, you guys don't go out there by yourselves? You don't want to take, like, the whole army of Mexico with you? Pretty much tell them they're going to be the bait. You guys are the bait? I'm trying to remember, like, Christopher Garn, who he reminds me of. I'm trying to remember. He reminds me, I don't know, like a boyfriend I've seen, like on Full House or something like that. But that's pretty good. $50,000 a piece. Come on, you wouldn't want to do it. You wouldn't be willing to do it. 50,000 a piece. I'd even think of doing it for $50,000 a piece. I kind of like this old school idea that they have on taking care of the graboids, using the little remote control cars and the bombs, which makes sense because in the first film he did the whole fishing with the pipe bombs with the cannon fuse. I think that's actually a pretty fun idea, especially with the remote control cars. Sorry, now I'm just watching the film. I'm sure it's like, can you talk instead of just staring blankly at the screen? Let's see. I have the book here. Try to see if there's anything I can say about the making of this. Let's see. Wrong one. There we go. The years that followed the release of Tremors saw Ron Underwood's feature film career take off, leading him to helm City Slickers. Nancy Roberts converted her talent agency into a management company in 1992, and now counted Wilson and Maddock among her clients. All these guys co-founded the production Stampede Entertainment. Tremors didn't do well, so we started writing screenplays back to back. Stampede's first project in 1992 was Heart and Souls with Robert Downey Jr. as a man reunited with his four guardian angels. Let's see. Universal Studios was keen to discuss the possibility of a sequel to Tremors for release in '94. The stipulation was that they needed Kevin Bacon and Reba McEntire back to guarantee a theatrical release. With two major names in the title, the marketing department could justify the budget required. Without them, there would be no film. They said, well, we couldn't just do the same thing as Shriekers. I mean, with the Graboids, so that's the idea of coming up with Shriekers. It would be a surprise to our characters. They knew what they were up against in the Graboids, and then the game changes on them. I like that. He was trying to press the fucking remote controller, and then there's the bomb. Boom. Very nicely done. I like the idea of the little pink umbrella. And then you get this montage just blowing the shit out of them. And that's that's a good idea where why would it not, it should be easy for them to destroy these graboids. It should absolutely be easy. Because if you use this remote control and they hump by sound and the bombing, should be all perfectly fine. Yeah. But yeah, the original idea, still living in Perfection Valley, the pair now ran an ostrich farm, having failed to capitalize on the financial opportunities that came with TV and magazine appearances. News of a graboid attack in Australia led the men to travel to the continent with Bert and Heather Dummer, while a new stage in graboid evolution, the Shriekers, ensured complication for their plans to defeat the creatures. We talked to Kevin. He was impressed because he had done some CG animation on the Shriekers. But he'd done this monster movie and there was no way he was going to come back and do another. At the time, he considered Tremors a low point in his career. He said, when people speak to me, they never say how great you were. They say how cool the worms were. But this is Steve Wilson. He said, well, Kevin told me this, but the audience doesn't get... The audience doesn't get that because Kevin's being so genuine. That's what makes the monsters work. I'm hoping he's made his peace with it. He also wanted to go back and do more interesting character work. Is that a coyote? You better keep quiet. Pretty much our characters are hearing a coyote. You better keep quiet, and you hear a yip. And Fred Ward is like, yep, you should. I mean, little moments of that type of levity makes it a lot more fun. Would Christopher Garn really be that stupid to not know paper, rock, scissors? I thought everyone knew that, but maybe not. Maybe not. $300,000. Now that word "apiece" that sounds like ADR, like added after the fact. I guess to really let the audience know, no, they're not getting 300,000 each. I mean, they're getting 300,000 each. Not because he says that's 300,000. People may assume, oh, 150 a piece. No, it's 300,000 a piece. So that little ADR was put in there. I could tell it's ADR. And of course, previously there's a bit he left the radio on the fucking ground. Reba McEntire, our tour schedule was getting really filled up and it was hard to schedule anything else. I've seen Tremors 2 and loved it. That was Reba McEntire. That's really cool. Bad idea. Bad idea. I did some pretty good graboid effects for a direct-to-video flick. And now you got this this little bit coming up where they just get their ass dragged because of this guy's stupid decision. They have these chains in the back of the truck. We've seen how powerful they are. They pulled a vehicle down into the ground. And that's why when you ask Ken to do that, Fred Ward's like, fuck, because he's seen it do that. I mean, The whole fucking car was pulled down in the first movie. I mean, they found the car in the ground. So here you get like a fun chase scene with that. Can't even call it chase scene, just them being dragged. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there's any info as this is happening. Pretty much about how, you know, the video markers become bigger and bigger. How they had a much shorter budget because of it. Helen Shaver, she was on the TV show Hill Street Blues, and Poltergeist: The Legacy. She was very excited to work with Fred Ward. The guy who played the oil company representative, Senor Ortega, we saw him earlier in the film. That's Marcelo Tubert. I guess he was also in Miss Congeniality 2, Leprechaun 3. And the team of Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated, ADI, Tom Woodruff Jr. and Ella Gillis, they returned once again to help do the effects. It was filmed at Lone Pine. Actually, no, it couldn't be in Lone Pine. That was in the first movie. So this time shot north of LA behind the Magic Mountain Amusement Park, a location that could be made to look like the desert if the right camera angles were used. Huh. LA behind the Magic Mountain Amusement Park. Go figure. And they're like, oh shit, like look at all those bad guys, all those graboids. They're in deep shit. And this is where they did great jump cut to, of course he had to be on Soldier of Fortune magazine. And, actually I'm gonna wait because this is a great reveal too, where, oh, we're not there yet, but we have Michael Gross coming back. And it's going to be a reveal where you got the graboid head on the wall that he mounted. But it was cool to see Michael Gross come back again. And I'll be like, well, man, how come you say he has more of a he has a bigger part here? He doesn't come in until like 30 minutes in. Yeah, but then after this, he's in it very much throughout the rest of the picture. She blamed our problems on the collapse of the Soviet Union. She said I couldn't handle life without the threat of global. I did just a crazy idea with the script. She says I couldn't handle a world without the threat of global nuclear war. There you go. There's a reveal. They mounted the fucking graboid head on his wall. There you go. He was just waiting for something to do. Michael Gross's character, he's eating potato chips. He's just waiting for something to happen, waiting for the call to arms, waiting for another war to fight. And then thus, from then on, this became his personal war. Now this is where she discovers, Helen Shaver, that Precambrian rock, that these are things very, very old. I don't know if you needed to reveal that. I mean, it's fine. I mean, but I don't know if you needed to reveal that. I mean, you kept it such a mystery in the first film, and I don't think you needed to, mention it. But oh well. So, looking into this a bit more, production designer Ivo Cristante, he was wary of repeating some of the issues he faced on another low-budget production, Hellraiser Bloodline. Bloodline went over budget. The union struck it. We were weeks into shooting and 2 weeks beyond schedule. We were so far behind we went into another dimension. The designer was determined that the same situation would not occur with the art department on Tremors 2, ensuring that costs would be pushed down by keeping close guard of the small budget available to them. There you go. Yeah, that's no graboid. Something more dangerous. Yeah, I definitely recommend this. It goes through the Tremors films, the first 4 Tremors movies, and the TV show. Once again, that is Atlanta Hawks cap. Yeah, it pretty much just goes to the making of certain scenes. The making of the Shriekers. And of course, with him, it's never too much. Never too much. No, not for him. It's not a bit much. Yeah. Yeah, to them it's not too much at all. Not at all. I just like, how over the top Michael Gross, his character gets with having as many weapons and explosives as possible. I mean, here he gives him these elephant guns, kind of like what he used in the first movie. That'll definitely be used later against the Shriekers. Also, the explosive, it makes sense structure-wise. Okay, we're going to blow up all this stuff at the end, so... Yeah, Michael Gross is a survivalist. He is the type of guy that would have, this type of rationale to have this much explosives in arsenal. Yeah, and now he's talking about how Reba McEntire's not coming back. She called and told me to send her to HK91. But I think that's what I mean. Like Michael Gross, he comes even more into Burt Gummer in this one because number one, he has to technically be by himself now that Reba McEntire's gone, and even more so playing with guns he can come across. Anti-tank rifle from, what does he say? When you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune. But it's nice to see Fred Ward and Michael Gross have a bit more to do with each other because, you know, they share more screen time with each other. That was nice. With all the graboids they've been blowing up, and then uh, Bird's gonna blow up a bunch more. There's a shitload of graboids in this region. There's what, 4 maybe in the first movie? Here there's like what, 20? 20 or so? Oh, here we introduce the MREs. And party's like, well, what's the point of this, the MREs? Well, when the creatures, they eat too much and they reproduce, sort of, MRE sort of a superfood that makes that happen a lot faster and quicker. I've heard of MREs. I've never had them because it just seems like, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever want to try an MRE. This tastes like toilet paper. Earl, that is the toilet paper. I think it's the way that dialogue is delivered. I also thought that was cute that with Michael Gross, his character, the remote control he's using is a tank. I just thought that was a nice little detail, and how very, very much prepared he is. I don't know why he's on the ground doing this, but I guess to him is like, I'll take you out with a knife if I have to. Plus, this is because he wants to record on camera as well. Oh, shit. Yeah, you use a bit too much explosive. How much was it? Was saying a little bit. 4 pounds is 4 pounds of C4. Holy shit. But I think the reason this direct-to-video film works compared to others, number one, you have some of the same team, like the same writers. And again, one of the writers even directed it. You have some of the same cast. It's fairly well made in terms of, yeah, it's direct-to-video, yeah, it's a lower budget, but I don't think it looks cheap. Nothing about this looked cheap. It's not like, oh, it looks like they're on a cheap set. No, they're out there. You can see the background. You can see the open plains, so to speak, the hills. The actors do their jobs well. The effects don't look cheap. Yes, once a blue moon. Later on, some of the CG on the Shriekers isn't the best, but for the most part, it's practical, and I give a lot of credit to that. Plus, with the story, like, this is when the worms have turned, so to speak. Things are starting to change, and okay, what's the deal with this? And when I first saw this as a kid, I didn't know much about it because, you know, you look at the cover and you're like, okay, like, what's this? Like, You kind of see what they look like, but you know, not exactly how it all comes about. I remember the first teaser I saw, they didn't really show much of anything. So, saw on VHS, it was a welcome surprise. Oh shit. Again, while this is direct to video, it still has a, enough of a budget to, like I said, not look like shit, honestly. That's an interesting sound design for that as well. That's a new one on me. And now I'm just watching the film. But again, I apologize. I'm not the best at commentary, so I'm never quite sure what to say exactly. Oh my god. I wonder where happened to those little like toy trucks. If anyone ever kept them or kept them, have them stashed somewhere, what have you. And it's always interesting to see the life cycle of this thing, where it gets to a certain point where it just kind of quits and, in a weird way, goes to some kind of labor, and you know, 3 or so Shriekers come out. I think that's really when the life cycle needed to end. That's when the life cycle really needed to end. It didn't need ass blasters. You didn't need them to fly around and drop eggs and shit. I just... I did in one instance to be that question, well, how does a graboid become born? So I guess it does, in a way, further circulate the cycle of it, where you need... But then the question would be, why isn't the cycle go from here to the ass blasters immediately? You know, in terms of its evolution, its physiology. Wow, the Shriekers I just always liked more. Like the ass blasters, I didn't really care for their design with the longer necks and the fact they're called ass blasters because they blast out of their ass to fly. I just like, Shriekers are just much cooler design, and you get off the ground. I think this film is PG-13 as well, I believe. Take a look here. Yeah, it is PG-13. And I know it's pretty dark, so you can't see it, but there's a cover. And then the back of it. Production notes, cast and filmmakers bios, film highlights, and trailer. So yeah, really not much of anything in terms of features. Bet that burned his skinny ass. I thought, something's wrong with our worm, Earl. What do you want me to do about it? Now, I love this entire film, but for some reason, this portion here I was even more interested in. I think because it's so unique compared to the first movie. It's so different compared to the first movie, where how this worm is turning and how they find it. And in a weird way, this section felt like the most horror to me compared to the other Tremors films. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's the music. Maybe because it's out at night and you just have these flashlights and lanterns. Yeah, but this music here I really enjoy. It's very creepy music. And the camera's like slowly panning for us to reveal what our heroes are seeing. Is that getting that horror tone to the store, and then how it's been just opened up and all the blood and guts. And you're like, what the fuck? And you can see the little sacks in there. I did like a caterpillar to a butterfly. Did nice effects to showcase the inside of this thing. Really nice work. Man, that would do it and then some. And again, also coming up where they see this truck and they're like, oh, what's going on with this and that and what's happening here? That makes it even more interesting to see where this is going to go. Oh shit. Yeah, they're all doing it. No, just keep doing it, man. And there seems like help and salvation, but he stops. I also like the whole build-up of this scene where you think they make it, like they think they're gonna be fine. Of course, you know it's not. I like this line coming up here where maybe he's taking a leak, and then you fade, and then Fred Ward goes, "That's a long leak." I don't know, for something about that always made me laugh. Always made me chuckle. I think because that's something I would say as a smart ass. Like, man, that must be a long leak. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm multitasking here. Okay, so it has to carry all the shit. Tough, buddy. You want me to walk out here? You're carrying all the shit. Okay, I got what I have. I got what I need. So tough, tough titty, man. Yeah, this is definitely a horror feel to this as well. Most definitely. Bring some memories back, huh? Oh yeah, I think it's the lighting, or more so the music. Like the music, Again, taking place at night, because a lot of the first one took place in the day, except maybe when the doctor and his wife were killed. And yeah, just the review. I thought there was a nice, cool, nasty review of the arms just hanging there. And like, oh shit. There you go. Yeah, and even he knows there's something up. They're up shit creek. Oh shit. And now Fred Ward is like doesn't have a handle on what's going on. So now you can make your heroes be in the position that they were in the first movie. Having to relearn again as to what to do and how to deal with the situation. Which brings a sense of suspense and what's the word I'm looking for? You know, when they're an expert on the situation, there's no feel of a threat. But now there is. Because now they don't know what the situation is, what's going on. They said no, as Fred Ward says, a whole new ball game now. What is this going on about now? What's going to happen with this? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. There you go. And now they try to figure out what to do next. They fucks up their vehicle, fucks up the radio station, or the radio. Of course, you find out the reason they're doing all this is not because they're that smart. It's because heat seekers. So they see the heat of the vehicle, the heat of the radio station parts. So yeah, it does show you it's not because they're smart. It's because of what they're able to sense. And here you get a kind of interesting fake out where you think it's going to be a much bigger, with the whole bigger is better, bigger exterior. And then the way they have the camera coming up, where they have the camera so high, you're just waiting for it. And then poop, it pops up like right at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, I thought it was an interesting fake out here. As it rises the rifles more, higher and higher. And even the camera's like pretty high, and there you go, right at the bottom. Like you saw a little bit of CGI there, but then boom, you got practical and really good practical. Like I said, I like the design of the Shriekers. Always thought they were really cool. I thought that was really cool too. The way that the top of the head flap just goes like this. And that's why they're called Shriekers. And if the right tools, they could be easy to kill. So at least there's that. Like I said, those rifles ultimately came in handy. But there's more where that came from. Yeah, the Shriekers definitely bring a lot of new stuff to the table, which is makes it fun and makes it not feel like a repeat of the first one. And part of me does wish we could have seen the sequence with him killing all these Shriekers. I mean, I get why. Number one, not having the budget behind it to do it. That's why. Even if you wanted to do it, and also the reveal of, you know, you're supposed to be seeing it for the first time. Did he get killed? Did he get eaten? Oh my God! Did Michael Gross? Is he dead now? Oh no, they got him. And then that reveal of just the truck bowing down, all wrecked to pieces. Just how beaten up Michael Gross is. I'll get to that in a minute. Helen Shaver is definitely a sexy lady, I'll say that. Very sexy. Ew. Just chews his leg right up, man. As much as you did Ray with PG-13 style. And maybe you did a little bit of that raptor from Jurassic Park, but to me, I did more of it because you actually get to see him really eat people. Well, granted, it's PG-13, so maybe that's not a fair comparison, because this is PG-13 as well. But, got that motherfucker's ass. Now, this scene here was part of the first teaser I saw, is this bit here. You know, about, you know, we got these things here. Fred Ward and the gun. See, and they make the decision, let's get the fuck out, and nope, as soon as that, these sons of bitches. Fred Ward get his shiny moment right here. Boom, nice shot. Sees a squib, lo and behold, a fucking squib on a creature. But apparently that's fucking hard to do nowadays, to do a fucking squib. Granted, to be fair, that's not a human, that's an inanimate object, so it'd be safer for a squib, to be fair. But there's so many times they don't even do that for a creature. For some fucking stupid reason. Yeah. That's all you killed? Well, I'm sorry. Well, spit. Ah, here we go. Here we go, Michael Gross. Yeah, I'm sorry. Now I'm just watching the film. I don't know why that reveal always makes me laugh. I think in retrospect, because I know what's coming, that's why it makes me laugh. Or just, just how out of it he is. Because I know his fate later. It's funny and watch it again. It's just how out of it he is. Just you tell he's like super pissed off to the character. I think I was denied critical, need to know information. I was denied critical, need to know information. The ambush situation. But they just kept coming. I'm waiting for this bit here where small arms fire and hand-to-hand techniques. The hand-to-hand techniques I'm curious about. Completely out of ammo. Has ever happened to me before? Just so defeated and saying that. But no, I'm very curious. That's why I would love to have seen that sequence of how did he do it with hand-to-hand techniques. Like, how does that come into play? I'm guessing with a knife or something, but still. Did he try to break their necks too or something? Then really good puppetry with making that thing move. I think the sound design works very well too. With it being tied up, that snorting, not even snorting, but that huffing sound, puffing sound with that. Definitely good sound design. Makes it that much more alive, so to speak. And in a like a bowl or something else would do. I'm surprised there hasn't been a video game on the Tremors films. There's been some fan games you can find on YouTube actually. If you type in Tremors video game, there are some fan ones. There's one that was trying to build like a first-person shooter with Tremors. At least trying to. One's like a flash game of the first movie where you're dodging or ducking or jumping of the graboids and you're collecting each character through town. Yeah, it's pretty interesting looking. But yeah, I'm surprised there's never been like an official video game. But I guess now that I think about it, how long could the video game really be? Like, what would the video game actually be about? Constantly avoiding graboids, okay, shriekers. What do you? If it's graboid, shriekers, and ass blasters, you have three different types of enemies. It'd be easy for people to get bored. So it's like, what? Are you going to add other stuff too? wouldn't be the first or last time they did that for a movie-based game. And yeah, I'm just a sucker for these practical effects. Just the way they puppeted the creatures and made that thing, and the way its mouth just closed, the wiggling of its tongue, really made it alive and believable. You know, ADI. Sorry, my nose is itching. Of course, we get to a little bit of know-how on this heat sensor thing. An interesting idea is signaling each other with his body heat. Let's see. Let me look at a little bit. See if there's a little bit of info maybe on the release of the film. Let me look into that. Let's see. The film's upbeat soundtrack was provided by musician Jay Ferguson, a founder member of the U.S. rock band Spirit. And he said he liked working on the film, liked working on the score. Nice. Let's see. Tremors 2 Aftershocks was destined for VHS, but it did have an early theatrical outing 1 month before its release, thanks to Brent Maddock. The LA Times announced that March 9th, 1996 saw a special screening of the film at the Monitor Fourplex as a fundraiser for Grant Elementary School in Santa Monica, which Maddock's 2 children attended. It was released on VHS on April 9th, 1996, and a special premiere screening was held at the Alfred Hitchcock Theater on the Universal lot the same day. Let's see. It got some good notices from critics. At the time the film's release, the video sell-through business was valued, Did they don't really go into the numbers, but yeah, it did very well. With Tremors 2 on VHS, Universal saw value in releasing Tremors 1 onto Laserdisc at the same time. Interesting. Christopher Gard in 2013 said, "I was shooting a drama called Sins of the Preacher in Boston, and every guy on the set in their 20s came up to me and they all grew up on Tremors 2. So, and yeah, it did very well. They went to a building that wasn't even finished yet. Well, I'm sorry, I look like a goddamn building to me. Yeah, and in a way, it also helps that we have less characters because then we get to delve into them a bit more. I'm not saying backstory wise, but personality wise, and they just have more time for interaction between the four of them. Because Fred Ward here, he was a planner in the first movie, so it's nice that they've shown that more of that as well, using these doors, which is a smart idea. A guy thinking on his feet. Because he's the guy in the first film. Come on, you gotta have a plan, man. I don't know how you come up with this shit, man. I think on my feet. I think it works because I enjoy all four of these people. I enjoy all four of the characters, and you're just wondering how they don't get out of this mess. And in a way, the Shriekers are a bit more dangerous because, yeah, they're smaller, but they're faster. Well, I don't know about faster, but you can move. I mean, you can not move and you'd be pretty fine. Or get on a roof and be fine. But these guys, when they're around every corner, and then not hiding in the dirt, makes it a lot harder to get by them. And it's nice that you get to see this gun come into play, but just believe me, there have been films where they bring up a cool gun or a cool product, and they don't do anything with it. It's like, well, that was a fucking shame. But it's like, once he brought up that anti-tape, it's like, you gotta use it at least once, man. Now, I don't know if he had just one bullet, but oh shit. Just split that puppy in two. Just you smoked his ass, doing what I can with what I got. And this is how powerful the fucking gun is. Went through the fucking wall, went through the fucking barrel, went through the fucking shed, and lo and behold. Wanted maximum penetration. That's what she said. Let's see. Yeah, we got about 20 minutes left, so movie goes by a pretty good pace too. Let's see. See, in case people don't have this book, maybe I can get a little bit more info for you guys. Look into it a little bit more. Pretty much our characters here are hiding out from these little suckers. Let's see. Let's see. Woodruff and Gillis were working in Canada on the 1995 Robin Williams film Jumanji when the call came to work on Tremors 2. So they shot Jumanji during the day before heading back to their hotel rooms in the evening to work on a small-scale model of the Shrieker. Weekends found them placing the creations in wooden boxes and flying down to LA for meetings, showing the producers what they envisioned for the sequel. They created a table control standing puppet mounted to a wooden base. Oh, two types. Both a table control standing puppet mounted wooden base that required two puppeteers, and a suit worn by a puppeteer for close-ups. Huh. There's a nice little bit of blood there, stabbing the shit out of that tongue. Again, the CGI is not the best, but it's more than serviceable for this time that this was made. It's okay, I'll deal with it. I mean, that's one of the few little nitpicks, but it's also mixed with some really good practical work as well, and that's nice. It's nice that they involve the actual real puppetry in there. You get these shots here like it's running, and it's like, okay, it's there. But they don't go overboard with it. Like, they're using it as a tool, not the main attraction. Whereas a lot of these fucking movies don't understand. These movies of today. Um, everyone says positive things about Fred Ward. Fred Ward was incredibly charming, very pleasant with the crew. He was just a regular crew guy. If the grips were moving, C-stands and flags and so forth, Fred Ward would say, "You guys need a hand with anything?" Helen Shaver says, Fred Ward had done a lot of traveling and I've always had sort of a wanderlust. We'd be sitting outside in the beautiful weather waiting for them to call us to do a shot. And he was describing Morocco. Christopher Garden says, there's no cooler guy on the planet. He's well read and he turned me onto some good books. Christopher Garton was hyper, but he was like a puppy dog. He was having a great time. He had a great rapport with Fred. He was very eager. Apparently all the actors did well. There were no issues with the actors. But that's pretty cool. All that, the Law Grizzly big bore single shot 50 caliber BMG rifle. That was a real gun and those were real bullets that Michael was shooting. It would sound like a cannon. It was going off every time we shot it, but would fire a bullet that was 8 inches long and about an inch thick. We cleared the set of all the crew members that were not necessary, and the actors were put into the lockdown because they always think that they're subject to the rule. Interesting. And here we get to learn a bit about Helen Shaver and what she did in her past, the character, which Fred Ward's character knows a little bit about, aka the Playboy Playmate, which is a pretty big coincidence that the Playboy Playmate he had on the wall just happens to be her. But there is a point to it where he even mentions, I have her up because that's something I will never have. But lo and behold. And the actors did sold this bit well. October 74. And then she's doing the pose, playing along with it, and he's like, yep. That's a nice friendly rapport with each other. So they worked well together. You know, endearing. Yeah, I would say that's the weakest CG shot when they're all climbing on each other to try to get to Fred Ward in the group. Yeah, I would say that's the weakest CG shot. But you had some actual real like tons on trying to get at them. Sorry, now I'm just watching the film. I'm not really sure what else to say about the movie. I know it's got like 12 minutes left. It's hard to think of things to say in connotation with the movie. But I mean, I'm a sucker for monster movies. I'm a sucker for these kind of films when done well. I mean, growing up with Aliens and Alien, growing up with films like showcase here, Leviathan, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, Deep Rising, The Relic, and of course Tremors 2. Movies that, you know, have characters I enjoy or actors I enjoy. I guess in a weird way you kind of almost relate yourself as to what you would do if having to deal with these monsters and creatures. And it's that weird, fanciful escape from reality. At the same time, you're enjoying something that you don't see in the real world. The different creatures, the designs, and when it's done for real, you cannot get more real than real. I always thought Fred Ward had this weird look right here when he turns back. I swear, when he turns and he looks back, he looks like Shemp Howard from the Three Stooges. Whereas I'm like, Shemp from the Three Stooges, if you know who I'm talking about. That's what he seemed like. And he does kind of look like Shemp from the Three Stooges, with the haircut and such. Like, imagine if Shemp was even older. Let his hair out a little bit longer. Of course, the return of rock, paper, scissors. And he loses, but doesn't admit it. I can imagine trying to get fire extinguisher on yourself. really... I wonder what this was they were actually using to blow onto him. And definitely a more different experience for our character compared to the first movie, having to literally sneak through, try to be incognito with all these things. These little assholes eating everything. Smorgasbord of shit. I didn't like, look at all these puppetry they have in here. Like 3, 4, 5 of them at least in the same shot. See, that's what I don't see any laziness in this. And that's what I find in a lot of direct-to-video films is laziness. I'm sorry, I do. Whether it be Wishmaster 3, Wishmaster 4, fuck, I mean, almost pretty much every Leprechaun movie. Fucking some Kickboxer sequels, in my opinion. Like I said, Lost Boys 2, The Tribe, Nemesis sequels, Cyborg sequels. God, I'm trying to think. There's been so many damn direct-to-video sequels out there. It's kind of, this becomes a joke. Like, oh, a direct-to-video sequel, 9 times out of 10 it'll suck. Just a lot of them do suck. And then you look at this, to me it's the exception to the rule. Oh shit. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Oh shit. Get the fuck out of there, man. Bro, damn it. Yeah, just punch the shit out of that boards, man. Get the fuck over there with that hose. Then a fun little idea here. You think everything's gonna roll well with the swing. He's going ready to swing like he's Indiana Jones. And not quite. Ooh. Decent work by the stunt guy. Having to hit the wall full force like that. And if you want your explosion, believe me, that'll be coming. It'll be a huge fucking explosion. Which makes sense. I mean, if they're trapped in the building, why not set a bomb? So, definitely the right decision. It's just when you tell Michael Grove's reaction. That's to have a... Don't tell me it's not enough. Not enough? I love this here. It's like, no, 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 no. Keep going. It's going to be big. Bird noses bombs, yeah. And that makes it funnier. Just, we got to keep going further and further and further. Yeah, this entire area is going to be obliterated. That's the best word to describe. Is it going to be today? Get your ass down. That's not there yet, but I've seen this movie so many times, like the first one. Get your ass down. Now that's a big fucking explosion. Damn. That's a giant fart. Holy sheep shit. I'm not 100% sure how that was done. If that was done maybe with models. I'm guessing they had a model of everything and blew it up. I can't imagine they really blew up the entire fucking facility like that. But they definitely blew up the shed right next to the Christopher Garten character. Definitely showcased the big force of all this getting blown up. All in a good day's work. Oh, holy shit. Now, like I said, I would say I like the first film more. You know, the score, the gist of, having a little bit more production value. But this is still a very worthy sequel. Very worthy. Grading Earl's Monster World. Which they did go on and create that monster world as set in dialogue in Tremors 3. I think there were rumors that if the pilot for Tremors got picked up with Kevin Bacon, that maybe you would later see Fred Ward. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe. But yeah, Tremors 2, like I was saying, it's a worthy sequel. It furthers the plow on, doesn't just repeat it. It brings something new to the table with the Shriekers and more difference in the evolution of these creatures. And overall, just a fun movie. Very entertaining film. The cast do their jobs well. Michael Gross, I felt, comes even more into the character of Burt Gummer in this. Fred Ward, nice to see him in the lead. There's not many. There's not a whole lot of films he got to be the lead. I mean, Remo Williams, which I am a big fan of. Not too many others though. But so yeah, it was great to see him be up front and center. Helen Shaver, very beautiful. The score I thought was catchy. The effects by ADI, really good. And S.S. Wilson did a competent job directing for the small budget that he had. It didn't look like a film that I could have seen in the theater compared to some of the shit I see nowadays. Yes, I could. But, went direct to video, very successful. That's why you had Tremors 3, 4, TV show, 5, 6, all that stuff. I just, really the success of this is what further showed that it could be a franchise for the studio. And Phil Tippett helped work on the CGI effects. And overall, yeah, very fun, entertaining, funny, worthy sequel. And I love it. I hope one day it gets a really good Blu-ray treatment. It deserves it. Not just being on a... Again, I think there's a Blu-ray overseas you could get where it's by itself. I don't know how it is. Again, in the US, it was part of a pack where Tremors 1 and 2 were on the same disc. In fact, to show that, much like this. See how it's like Tremors and Tremors 2 on top of each other? You know, 2 films on one disc. You're like, come on, man. Really? So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.